The workplace is filled with hazards. Every workday, you protect yourself from hazards you can see and identify as potentially harmful to health and life. But what about the unseen hazards? Danger lurks in the air. You cannot see it, smell it, taste it, or touch it. Toxic material in the form of vapors, dusts, mists, and gases can cause illness, injury, or even death. It is your employer's responsibility to reduce or eliminate the presence of respiratory hazards whenever possible. But when airborne contaminants remain above the permissible exposure level, or PEL, respiratory protection is required. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration's Respiratory Protection Standard has been instrumental in protecting workers from hazardous atmospheres for 25 years. Because of advances in respirator technology and more effective methods to use respirators, the standard has been updated. The final rule makes it easier for your company to ensure your safety and easier for you to protect yourself. It is estimated that the updated standard will prevent 4,000 injuries or illnesses and save more than 900 lives each year. The goal of this training program is to ensure that your life is one of them. Respiratory protection is critical to your health and well-being. The respiratory system is the quickest and most direct route for contaminants to enter the body. Toxic materials can be silent killers. You often can't rely on your senses to detect them. Respirators prevent the inhalation of harmful airborne substances or supply purified air to keep you safe under any working conditions. Respirators must also be used where there is an oxygen-deficient atmosphere. That is, where the oxygen level falls below 19.5%. At that point, oxygen must be supplied through artificial means in order for you to remain in the oxygen-deficient environment. It's not enough to know that respiratory equipment is needed in either of these cases. You must be an informed user. If you use the wrong respirator, or if a respirator doesn't fit properly, it's worse than having no protection at all. Let's take a look at some highlights of the final rule and how they affect you. The Respiratory Protection Standard can be divided into responsibilities of the employer and responsibilities of the employee. The written respiratory protection program, the training program, and the monitoring of the respiratory program are responsibilities of your employer. This includes identifying and evaluating respiratory hazards and important record-keeping duties. Your company must also assign a program administrator, perform necessary air sampling, and provide NIOSH-approved respirators. Your employer must facilitate a medical evaluation to determine your ability to use respiratory protection. And by following OSHA's guidelines for fit testing, your company can help you select an appropriate respirator that provides a good protective seal. In addition, the employer must also perform routine inspections of respirators and see that timely repairs are assigned to qualified technicians. For your part, employees must participate in training and fit testing and use proper respiratory protection as instructed. It is important that you clean and disinfect respiratory equipment after use for your own protection and the protection of others if the equipment is shared. Proper storage of respirators will prolong their service life and maximize your protection. Although your company must provide a respirator program under OSHA regulation, you play a major role in the effectiveness of the program through informed use of respiratory protection. It is in your best interest to understand respiratory hazards and know how to use and maintain respiratory protection equipment. Before any respiratory equipment is used, your employer must identify and evaluate the respiratory hazards in your workplace and other factors that may affect respiratory performance. This includes identifying the chemical state and physical form of contaminants and determining if the concentration is above permissible exposure levels. Your employer should initiate feasible engineering controls such as ventilation, isolation of the contaminants, or substitution of toxic substances first. If workplace changes do not reduce exposure levels, the respirator is the last line of defense. At this point, your employer will provide an appropriate respirator according to the hazards you will be exposed to. Commonly used face piece designs are half masks, full masks, and hoods. Full masks and hoods can be more cumbersome to wear. However, in most cases, a better protective seal can be achieved than with the half mask. Eyeglasses are the biggest cause of problems with full masks because the temple plates interfere with a tight seal. Spectacle kits are available that fit snugly into the mask so that a proper seal can be achieved. And now that OSHA allows the use of prescription contact lenses, many users have more freedom in choosing a face piece design. Selection of respirators should be conducted by a trained professional. It depends on many factors, including the specific respiratory hazards, your exposure level, the size of the particulates, the oxygen saturation level, the kind of work being performed, and your own medical status. Depending on these and other factors, you will need an air purifying respirator or a supplied air respirator. Air purifying respirators use particulate filters, chemical cartridges, or a combination of the two. Particulate filter respirators will protect you from dusts, mists, and fumes that can be present during welding, cutting, sanding, grinding, spraying, or cleaning. They generally are not effective against gases or vapors. NIOSH has developed new classifications for filter efficiencies. These classifications should make appropriate filter selection easier for everyone. The new classifications, Series N, R, and P respirators, depend on the presence or absence of oil particles in the air. N is for not resistant to oil, best used for wood or cotton dust or any aerosol that does not contain oil. R is for resistant to oil, such as lubricants or glycerin. R-series filters should only be used during a single 8-hour shift. P is for oil-proof. The P-series can be used for any airborne particulate. While they are recommended for use during extended periods, you should check the service time as recommended by the manufacturer. You should also change the filter when soiled or damaged, or when it feels difficult to breathe. Under the new NIOSH classifications, you don't have to know the exact size of the particulate as in the past. Filters have been tested against the smallest aerosol penetrations. The absence or presence of oils and how much filter leakage is acceptable are the deciding factors in filter selection. Another type of air purifying respirator uses chemical cartridges or canisters to remove gases or vapors through a filter, catalyst, or sorbent. Even though new super cartridges exist for certain combinations of acid gases and organic vapors, there is no one agent that will be effective on all gas or vapor contaminants. You must know exactly which hazards exist in order to select an effective purifying agent. Color-coded cartridges and canisters are designed to help you choose the right one for your protection. For example, white is for acid gases and black is for organic vapors. Consult your company's written policy for a complete listing of the cartridges or canisters your company uses. Color coding makes it harder to make a mistake, but you must know the specific airborne hazard in order to properly protect yourself. Because most toxins are undetectable if they break through, it's very important that you know the service life of the respirator you are using. Some may have an end of service life indicator, or ESLI, and certain manufacturers recommend a maximum field time, such as 8 hours. In rare instances, you may experience signs of a breakthrough, such as a bad odor, taste, or irritation. Do not wait for such a signal. In any case, the cartridge, canister, or filter must be replaced before the end of their service life for maximum protection. Your company should alert you to its change schedule policy if your air purifying respirator doesn't have an ESLI. When the exact nature of the contaminant is unknown, when the level of oxygen falls below 19.5%, or when the atmosphere is immediately dangerous to life and health, or IDLH, it will be necessary to select a supplied air respirator. Supplied air respirators do not filter or remove contaminants. They supply clean air to the user through one of two methods: airline or self-contained breathing apparatus, also known as SCBA. SCBA is carried on the user's back, just like the firefighters use. It provides either a 30 or 60-minute supply of air, so the user must monitor the time carefully. Airline respirators provide clean air through a hose attached to a remote cylinder of clean compressed air or an air compressor. When you use this type of respirator, it's important not to let the hoses tangle or let the line interfere with your work. Supplied air respirators are used for escape from oxygen deficient or IDLH atmospheres. These units are designed for temporary use only. You should know how to use the emergency SCBA escape units in your facility. You may not use a respirator in your workplace until a medical evaluation is conducted. You will be asked to complete a confidential questionnaire, which is forwarded to a physician or other licensed healthcare professional for review. This is a change from the previous requirement of a physical exam. You will be asked about your health history and any symptoms of illness you may be experiencing, the type of respirator you will use, and your past exposure to contaminated environments. Answer the questions completely and honestly. Your employer will not see the information or use it for any other purpose. If there is any concern about the physiological effects of using a respirator, you may need to be seen by a physician. Fit testing and regular seal checks are done to ensure a good seal between your face and the facepiece of the respirator. Critical respirator parts must function well at all times, and a good seal prevents the leakage of contaminants. Your company will conduct qualitative or quantitative fit testing when your respirator is first issued, when a different facepiece is used, or at least yearly. Fit testing should also be repeated if changes in your physical condition affect the fit of your respirator. This includes dental changes, cosmetic surgery, or obvious changes in weight. The respirator should fit securely, but not too tightly. It should be comfortable. For example, your nose should not be pinched. Make certain you know how to secure the straps correctly. The respirator should stay in place even if you move your head or talk. You will first wear the respirator in a normal environment to get used to the fit. Then you will be subjected to a test atmosphere to detect any leakage around the seal. Some fit tests use an easily detectable substance such as banana oil to help you detect leakage. When the fit test is successful, you will be issued the respirator. Facial hair such as beards, mustaches, and sideburns will interfere with a proper seal against the face. You must remove all facial hair that crosses the respirator's sealing surface to avoid potential leaks. You must do a visual inspection and a user seal check each and every time you put on your respirator. First, carefully examine your respirator. Are valves secure, clean, and operational? Check the facepiece, straps, breathing tubes, and air hoses for signs of deterioration. Inspect the filter, cartridge, or canister for cracks or dents. If there is any visible damage to the respirator, do not use it until it is inspected by someone authorized to repair respirators and replace parts. You may not enter a contaminated atmosphere until you perform a positive and negative pressure test, or a user seal check as recommended by the manufacturer. Make sure the respirator is properly secured and a good facial seal is in place. For a positive pressure seal check, cover the exhalation valve with the palm of your hand. You may have to unscrew the valve cover. Exhale gently into the facepiece. The goal is to create positive pressure without any signs of leakage out of the facial seal, inhalation valve, or cartridge attachments. For the negative pressure seal check, close off the inhalation valve or the inlet for the cartridge or canister. Due to the design of some respirators, you may need to use a latex or nitrile glove to completely close off the inlet. Gently inhale. Breathing in should create a vacuum and the facepiece should slightly collapse inward, but without any inward leakage of air through the facial seal. The tightness of the respirator is considered effective if it passes these two user checks. Be sure to alert your supervisor if you experience any difficulties with the fit of your respirator. Even a small gap in the face seal could leak deadly contaminants. If something doesn't seem right, stop and have the respirator thoroughly inspected before entering a contaminated atmosphere. Even if you are the only person who uses your respirator, it is important to keep it clean to prolong its life and maximize its effectiveness. Remove the cartridge, gaskets, valves, and straps and wash the respirator in a warm water and mild detergent solution or a cleaner recommended by the manufacturer. Rinse components thoroughly under running water. Good rinsing will prevent detergent residue from drying out your skin or causing dermatitis. Some detergents can deteriorate rubber parts or corrode metal parts if not rinsed completely. You should not use alcohol because it will dry out the rubber face seal. Allow components to air dry or lightly pat dry with a soft towel. Reassemble the respirator and replace filters or cartridges as needed. Proper storage away from sunlight, dust, extreme temperatures, moisture, and damaging chemicals will significantly increase the life of your respirator. Use a dust-tight container, like a resealable plastic bag, to prevent contamination or other physical damage, so your respirator will function as it was designed. Never store a respirator in your work area unless it is a proper storage container. An exposed mask hanging at your workstation not only subjects it to damage, it is a citable offense under OSHA regulation. If you detect anything unusual about the respirator that has been issued to you, notify your supervisor immediately. Respiratory protection is critical for your safety and health. Your understanding of OSHA's respiratory protection standard is essential if you work in an environment containing airborne hazards. Remember, when selecting a respirator, you must know the level of the hazard. Once you have determined the hazard you are working with, you must use the respirator that is designed for that hazard. And if an unknown substance is in the air or reasonable estimates of exposure are not available, the atmosphere must be treated as IDLH. No matter how tempted you may be, never remove your respirator in a contaminated environment. Removing a respirator in hazardous air could be fatal. Use your respirator wisely. Clean, store, and maintain it, and it will be ready to protect you at all times. Your company is committed to protecting you from airborne hazards. Now make that commitment to yourself. You'll breathe a lot easier.